the Golf Spotlight. I'm Ralph Irvin, and we are talking drivers from TaylorMade. There's 2 new drivers coming out here at the end of 2008. And I'm joined by Tom Olsavsky, Senior Director of New Product Creation for TaylorMade. Tom, thanks for joining me.
Ralph, it's great to be here.
And first up, let's talk about, let's go back. 2007, you came up with the idea of having 2 different kinds of drivers for 2 different kinds of players. And we're actually seeing that come back this year with the 2 new drivers with the R7 Limited and the new burner.
Right. In reality, Ralph, it's really a bomber and a technician world out there on the golf course. We saw this very early on tour, and we see a lot of golfers that play that way. You find a lot of people that want to get up and just hit it as far as they can. And there's a lot of players play more of a position game, almost a technical game, looking to hit at certain spots. And in 07, we had runaway success with both the Super Quad and the burner, and show that there's a very viable market out there for that kind of strategy.
Well, first up, let's talk about the R7 Limited, which is right here, and it is designed for the technician.
Right, and many things we've done with this golf club is really to provide all the benefits, both in the visual aspects of the club and the performance. We found in many cases with some of the previous products, particularly the Super Quad and Tour Burner, that a lot of those players are very critical and need a very important connection with the golf club and the way they align the golf club. So we went actually to what we call a radium IP finish. And what that really does, it gives it a very cool look in the shot, but it also gives a very high contrast between the face and the crown. You also see 3 weights instead of 4.
Right.
And one of the things we found with our understanding of the shape and the size of drivers is if you could stretch this body, you can get more effective use out of that weight that you would put in the club. So in this case, this driver has 35 yards of left-right adjustability. Now, the Super Quad had 28, so people say, well, how did you do that? The way we did that was when we stretched the head further from front to back and stretched out these ports a little bit heel to toe, and take out that 4th weight port. When you take out the 4th weight port, you take out effectively the 12-gram weight and about 4 grams of the weight for the port. So we had a nice savings there. So what we could do is stretch the head to make it a little bit bigger in terms of the address size. And when you stretch it further apart, you get more effective use of those weights. The other benefit is we went to a 16-gram weight.
Okay.
So the 16-gram weight now gives us the capability to do a 35-yard difference between the heel and toe positions. So it's a major improvement even beyond what we had with Super Quad in terms of the movable weight capability.
So not only, say, the available variation, but really it becomes a more stable club head because it's bigger in space.
You're exactly right. In general, every time you make the club head larger front to back, you get higher inertia. So that's always been the key that we've tried to strive for in terms of performance. So it's more stable, but you have more adjustability in terms of your left, right, or even your up, down because the weighting is further apart. The other exciting thing, too, that we don't talk too much about, but is very apparent when you really understand what golfers do in terms of setting up the club behind the ball. One of the things we've learned with the original burner and other drivers that we've tested over the time of the last few years is by changing the shape of the club, you can give a different perception to the golfer. And the perception we're always trying to get is confidence, but also speed and performance. And one of the things we've learned with some of the other drivers in the market that have been different shapes is there are some shapes that give you that impression more than others. No different than when you look at a car on the street and say, "Ooh, that car looks fast." We want the golfer to look at this club behind the ball and say, "This looks like it's a fast club, it's going to hit the ball farther." We know whether it's a technician or a bomber, everyone wants to hit it farther. So that's the challenge, is really how to reinvent the shape and get better performance at the same time.
Well, and if you talk about fast, then you're talking. Then you start transitioning into the burner because that is designed as a fast shape, and I mean that's a fast shape. This is super fast.
Well, again, exactly. You picked up exactly on one of the things we use with the new burner. We use the name super fast, and the whole goal about the burner concept in this reinvention, I will say, in the last few years, has been about speed. We had burners a long time ago in the 90s and even before that, but this club is really about speed, and it was led by the burner 07. We know that if we can give the golfer a club that just by itself produces more speed, the ball's going to go farther. And the burner that we launched in 07, the original burner, has been a great success for us. This product takes that to the next level. It's much faster looking, it's much larger, it has a much larger face, and in reality this club is going to produce more distance than the original burner. One of the challenges that we looked at in terms of the construction of the driver, not only in how it looks, but how do we create that distance engine.
Right.
And in reality, the challenge with drivers is once you make them very large, you have struggles trying to make them even larger and make that weight more effectively used. So what we learned with Tour Burner was that dual crown is a great way for us with our casting technology to reduce the size of the crown. When you reduce the size of the crown, you could put more weight on the bottom. When you do that, you actually lower the CG of the club. And the lower CG gives you what's called a vertical gear effect. The vertical gear effect means when you hit it a little bit above the center, the club does a little bit of this, a little bit of a rotation around the center of gravity, which is down a little bit lower. And what that does, it gives us higher launch and less spin. That's always been the recipe for more distance, going back to comparisons between wound balls and solid balls. So that energy of the ball impact going into higher launch and less spin is going to go farther for almost all golfers.
A lot of technology in both of these clubs. If people want more information on the technology or all the spec differences available, they can just get that online at TaylorMadeGolf.com.
Exactly. We have all the information about the shafts, the club lengths, the way they are built, some of the technology behind the inverted cone. Everything we put in the club is on the website. So we really appreciate anyone interested to go look at it and check out the clubs. You know, they're going to be out there retail and a lot of opportunities to go hit the ball farther.
All right, Tom, thanks for the time.
All right, Ralph, great.
I want to thank Tom Olsavsky for joining us here on the Golf Spotlight. Join us next time as we continue to bring you the information that you need for your next golf purchase.